Stop making it complicated. It's actually this simple. You've spent so much energy lately playing detective, trying to find a hidden meaning in their silence, or some secret trauma that explains why they treat you that way. You've sat there, analyzed every text, and looked for signs of progress like you're reading tea leaves. But you're ignoring the only sign that actually matters, the knot in your stomach that tells you something is wrong. Face the truth, they treat you like an option. I know how it feels. I remember being exactly where you are, so confused that you start to doubt your own eyes. You tell yourself they're just bad at texting or going through a lot at work. You make excuses because the alternative is too painful to look at. But if they respected you, you wouldn't be in this headspace. You wouldn't be rehearsing how to ask for the bare minimum without sounding crazy. You wouldn't be constantly searching for a way to fix a feeling that they're the ones creating. I'm just really overwhelmed right now, they tell you. And you buy it. You turn yourself into a saint of patience while they turn into a ghost. It's time to stop looking for a deeper meaning and start looking at the facts. Let's look at what your life actually looks like right now, minus the stories you tell yourself to get through the day. You're living in a waiting room. You wake up, and the first thing you do, before you even brush your teeth, is check your phone. You're looking for a notification, a sign of life, anything to prove that you were on their mind for even a second. When the screen is blank, you start the mental gymnastics. They're probably just sleeping in, or they had that big meeting today. You become a defense attorney for someone who didn't even ask you to represent them. You spend your lunch break checking their social media activity status, trying to piece together a timeline of their day just to see if they had 5 minutes to spare. And the worst part? You see that they did have the time. They were online. They just didn't use that time for you. Think about how you act when you finally do get a text. You reply within seconds, don't you? You don't want them to feel the way you feel. You want to be the easy one, the supportive one, the one who is always there. You've convinced yourself that if you're just consistent enough, patient enough, and low maintenance enough, they'll eventually realize how lucky they are and step up. But look at the pattern. You're the one making the plans. You're the one asking, "Are we still on for Friday?" Only to get a maybe, "Let me see how I feel," or a last-minute cancellation because they're drained. You've started to shrink yourself. You don't bring up your needs because you're afraid of putting pressure on them. You've learned to accept crumbs and call it a meal. You're always so needy, they say when you finally snap and ask for a little bit of clarity. That's the classic line, isn't it? They make you feel like your basic desire for respect is an attack on their freedom. So you apologize. You actually apologize for having feelings. You're walking on eggshells in your own life, trying not to upset a balance that is already completely tipped against you. You aren't in a partnership, you're in a hostage situation where your happiness is being held for a ransom they have no intention of paying. Let's stop talking about their stress and start talking about their strategy. Because that's what this is. It isn't a misunderstanding, it's a power dynamic. When someone treats you like an option while you're treating them like a priority, they aren't clueless. They are perfectly aware of the space they're taking up in your head, and they're using it to keep you exactly where they want you, available, but not accounted for. Think about the way they flip the script the second you try to hold them accountable. You come to them with a hurt heart, saying, "I felt really lonely when you didn't call," and somehow, 10 minutes later, you are the one apologizing to them. That's not an accident. That's a redirection. They make your pain about their pressure. They turn your valid need for basic respect into a character flaw. "You're just so sensitive, I feel like I have to watch everything I say around you," they tell you. That line is a masterpiece of manipulation. It's designed to make you shut up. It's designed to make you self-edit until there's nothing left of your personality but a quiet, agreeable shadow. They want the benefits of your company without the cost of having to actually care about your feelings. Here is the cold, hard truth: they aren't incapable of showing up. You've seen them show up for work. You've seen them show up for their friends. You've seen them put in the effort when there's something they want. The incapability only magically appears when it's your turn to be heard. It's selective. It's a tool they use to keep the bar so low that they can trip over it and still expect a standing ovation just for staying in the room. They keep you in this state of maybe because it gives them total control. If they committed to you, they'd have to be responsible for your heart. If they let you go, they'd lose their safety net. So they keep you right in the middle, in the gray area. They give you just enough good days to keep you hooked, just enough crumbs of affection to make you think a breakthrough is coming. It's like a gambler waiting for a jackpot that was never programmed into the machine. They know you're a fixer. They know you have a huge heart and that you'll look for the why behind their what. They rely on your empathy to act as a shield for their selfishness. While you're busy psychoanalyzing their childhood or their last breakup to justify why they're being a jerk today, they're just enjoying the fact that they don't have to try. Stop asking why they're doing this and start asking why they're allowed to. They do it because it works. They do it because every time they pull away, you lean in further. Every time they disrespect you, you try harder to be lovable. They aren't losing you, they're training you. They're training you to accept less, to stay quiet, and to be grateful for the bare minimum. It's time to stop looking at their potential and start looking at their patterns. The pattern is the only truth you have. How long are you willing to live on your knees? I'm asking because I've been there, and I know the answer is usually, until it hurts enough. But look at you. You're already exhausted. You're a shell of the person you used to be before you started trying to understand them. You've traded your hobbies, your sleep, and your self-respect for the hope that one day they'll wake up and realize you're the best thing that ever happened to them. But let's be brutal for a second: what if they already know? What if they know exactly how much you love them, and they've decided that your love is a tool they can use to see how much they can get away with? You keep saying, "I just want closure. I just want them to explain why." Stop. They aren't going to give you a PowerPoint presentation on why they treated you like trash. Their behavior is the explanation. The fact that they can sleep soundly while you're staring at the ceiling wondering what you did wrong is the only why you're ever going to get. Do you really think another month of patience is going to change the DNA of this relationship? How many times do they have to show you who they are before you finally believe them? You're waiting for a version of them that only exists in your imagination. You're in love with a ghost, and you're letting that ghost ruin your real, physical life. You're lucky I even put up with your drama. They snapped at you once. Remember that? They've convinced you that you're difficult so that you'll be grateful for the bare minimum. It's a classic trick. If they can make you feel small, they never have to grow up. Ask yourself, if you were watching someone you actually care about, your sister, your best friend, your younger self, be treated this way, would you tell them to stay? Would you tell them to be patient for another year? Of course not. You'd be furious. You'd be packing their bags. So why is your life the only one you're willing to waste? The door isn't locked from the outside. You're the one holding the handle. It's time to stop wondering if they'll change and start wondering why you're still standing in a house that's on fire. Here's the part you're not going to like, but it's the only thing that's going to save you. You have to stop waiting for them to give you permission to leave. You're waiting for an apology that acknowledges your pain, but if they were capable of that level of empathy, you wouldn't be in this mess in the first place. You don't need a final talk. You don't need them to admit they lied. You need to look at the reality of your own exhaustion and say, I'm done being the only one fighting for this. Reclaiming your power starts with silence. Not the manipulative, silent treatment they use to punish you, but the quiet, dignified silence of someone who has finally stopped explaining themselves. Stop defending your boundaries. Stop telling them why it hurts when they disappear for 3 days. If they cared, they'd know. If they wanted to respect you, they would. Every time you explain your worth to someone who is determined to devalue you, you're just handing them a map of where to strike next. You've been told that working on a relationship is a virtue. But there is a massive difference between compromise and self-erasure. Real strength isn't how much disrespect you can handle without breaking. Real strength is having the self-respect to walk away from a table where love is no longer being served. It's time to start an investment account where the only currency is your own energy. What would happen if you took all that time you spend analyzing their moods and spent it on your own life? What if you took all that patience and gave it to yourself while you heal? You've been so busy being a fixer for someone else that you've let your own house fall into disrepair. You'll never find anyone who loves you like I do, they might say when they sense you pulling away. Good. That's the point. You don't want to be loved like that ever again. You want a love that doesn't require a private investigator to verify. You want a life where respect isn't a reward you have to earn, but the baseline you start with. It starts with one decision: to stop being an option and start being your own first choice. The hardest part isn't leaving, it's staying left. It's the moment 3 weeks from now when they text you something small, something sweet, or something that makes you feel like maybe, just maybe, they finally get it. But remember this: respect isn't a feeling they have when they're lonely. It's a practice they show when things are good. If they respected you, you wouldn't have spent your nights dissecting their silence. You wouldn't have had to become a version of yourself you don't even recognize just to keep the peace. You don't owe them another explanation, another chance, or another minute of your life. You've been waiting for them to change so you can finally be happy. Stop waiting. They've already shown you exactly who they are. Now it's time for you to show them who you are. You already know the answer. The question is, will you finally act? If you decide to,